DAC Connect, Part 4. In this session, we'll cover ordering. If you watched Part 3, you saw that we had added an item from the price book into our shopping cart or our active order. So we're going to start from there. If I touch this button beside the entry that says active order, it will take us directly into that order or to a place to get to it. So from the drop down, I'm going to choose edit and click on that. And now I'm inside of that order. So you can continue to add from within here, but I'm going to show you what happens when you create an order without an item already being in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit. I see a breakdown by category. We'll talk about that more in a minute. I'll hit continue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this order. I could submit it, which would be to send it all into the office for processing, but I'm going to choose delete on this one just to wipe things clean. I'm going to say yes, I'm sure I want to delete that. I'm going to back out. I'm going to go back out here. Now, when you start an order just from this point and you haven't already placed something in the order from the product information tab, this is what the process looks like. So if I click the button, the first thing you'll see when you're starting a brand new order is a place to type in a message. So I could say something like that, put some type of meaningful message in there and hit enter. So now I'll be in and so you'll see my messages carry along, so that tracks along with the order. Now I don't have any items in here, so there are a lot of ways to get an item into your order. One is with a barcode scanner. You can scan a barcoded shelf tag or a UPC code, and it will populate the order with that item. So that's one way. Of course, you could just hand key an item and hit the enter button. Now I happen to know that item number, and I have my system set up to default my quantities to a 1. That's an option that can be set up, and also to combine. So if I type that item again or scan it again, or it gets in the order again, what it does is it just adds to it. So now I have a quantity of 2. So just like the grocery store, if you scan an item multiple times, you'll get multiple quantities of it incrementing in ones. Now, if you want to go a different way, I'm still combining, but if you type the quantity first and then you scan the item, you'll get an entry that looks like that. So now I've added 10 to it. So now my total quantity is 12. So if you don't want to scan an item repetitively, if you key the quantity first, just like at the grocery store, and then scan the item, you'll get that type of result. Now that's one way to get items in, but there are quite a few other ways in here, and I'm going to cover the main ones. One popular one is the guide function. So if I click guide, what it does is it looks at activity of this customer's previous orders. And so it looks for a year back in time. So I'm actually doing this on the 13th of February of 2016. So it defaults a year's date, a date from a year ago. But if I key another date in here, say I key in 10/15/15 for my date, then it'll look back and see what all this customer, King's Forest Exxon, has ordered since then and what their typical average order is per week and so forth. So you can do that type of scenario to put things in. Now, if I want to just come down through here and choose some items from this list, put a quantity in, I can do that type of situation. If I hit the enter button, those items are added back into my order. So I can continue to go through. If I want to do this category by category, I can do that. If I hit the category button, I can say, let's just look at grocery items, for instance. And I'll find that I don't have any grocery items. This customer hasn't ordered any grocery items, so I'm not seeing any in there. So you'll see that you can use category as a limiter in there. Let's see if they bought any cigarettes, and they did not since that time frame. So I could do one of several things. I could get out of this place altogether. I could cast a little bit further back date. The key is proper date in here, that is. And so now going back a full year, and I see that at some point in time on the June the 11th of 2015, they did buy basic blue box King. So I could order that if I wanted to, or I could just skip it. I hit enter with the 2 in there. Now when I exit out of this guide function, I'm back in the main order. And you can see the things that we selected from within there. So the guide is a way to look at historical orders to sort of guide you through the process. Another popular way to enter orders is to click the multi button. If I click that button, it presents an alphabetic list in here, and I can search for things that way. So if I want to look for Keebler products, I can find them alphabetically and just come down through here filling in quantities. If I have an item that's sold in multiple units of measure, like this Keebler Chips Deluxe, if I choose one of those and then I do the little drop down over here and I say I don't want a box, I want an each for that. So any item that's set up that where you can break case on it or select an alternate unit of measure, the drop down appears for you to use that. I'm going to hit enter here and select that Keebler item, and I'm going to exit from here and go back into my main order. And so there's the Keebler item. Now you'll notice everything's priced out in here, has the customer's price. It's being done on the fly as you go through. So that's another way. So now we've covered scanning, entering item numbers, the guide function, the multi-function. You can also search alphabetically straight from in here. So there are several ways to do that. And once again, like we covered in the previous session, you have the contains and begins with search. So when you find the item that you want, you can just click the button beside it and hit enter, and that's added into your order. So there's my Laffy Taffy item I just added. If I want to change that quantity, I simply put a different quantity in place. If I decide I don't want that item at all, I can click the drop down and say delete that line item. I can delete several in here. So you can select multiples and then press enter, and when you do, those will be deleted. So you can work through that way. Another way to do things is to use a custom order guide, and this would be a guide, something that you've set up in advance possibly to pull orders in. So you can either create an order guide for future use from the order that we're actually working on right now by entering a 1, or you can import from a previously saved guide by using a 2. So I'm going to try a 2 here and press enter. And it shows me a list of things that I can choose from. So I'm going to choose this Keebler cookie one that I had set up once before. And what it does is it just grabs all those Keebler items that were in that guide and pull them in here. Now I can modify the quantities and do what I want with them, or if I see items there I don't want at all, I can get rid of them. So you sort of work through. So you see there's a number of ways to get in here. Now while you're in this order, as you're going through it, it's keeping a running total at the top of what this customer's order is. If you want to see a breakdown by category while you're still in the order, if you click order totals, it'll give you a categorical breakdown to show up. Some people, if they have a printer in the field or they want to give the customer a receipt to look at, you can click this produce receipt button, and it will render something that you can look at in our view document. So this would be just like a simple little receipt. If you do have a printer, you could actually leave it and have the customer sign off and bring it back with you, or whatever your typical needs are. So you can do that order totals from within here at any time. When you actually exit the order, you'll see those order totals again. I want to show you one other thing, this alternate view. So you'll see this view here for looking at things. If you want, there's a slightly different view of an order by clicking this alternate view that has a numeric keypad that you can tap on. And some people find that useful, and some people prefer the other method, and some people mix and match depending on what type of order they're writing. If I click alternate view again, it just takes me right back to where we were before. So you can flip-flop back and forth between those two views. If I click exit, it will show my categorical breakdown again, sales for each, the total quantities in each. If any sales tax applies, that would show up. I can click continue, and now I'm done. Now if I want to place this order, I can simply click submit. If I want to go back into it and work some more on it, I can hit edit. If I want to just get rid of it and start all over, I can hit delete. I want to say submit. Submit order, yes to continue, or no to cancel. So I'm going to say yes. And so what happens is when I click that, that order is sent to the main office. So that's a little bit about how to create and modify an order. We'll see you again in part 5.